So, what are PNPs? Thanks for joining in live. Like I said, this is a live video chat from Visto. If you're not here live, make sure to join the platform. Totally free to join at www.visto. Excuse me, AI. That coffee is not going down well. And we do these chats 3 times a week, talking about PNPs, jobs, living in Canada, express entry, all that fun stuff. Prashant is here live from India. Thanks, Prashant, for letting me know. I'll be able to kind of cater the presentation a little bit to you. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick talk about PNPs, go over just kind of the basics, what they are, who they're for, and based on a blog post that we prepared recently. And then I'm going to stick around for a live Q&A as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll probably get to those at the end of the presentation, just because I'm going to go through the content first. But I will stick around and get through any questions that you might have. Hopefully these sirens die down. I don't know if you can hear them in the background. But let's get started. What are Provincial Nominee Programs? So that's what PNP stands for, Provincial Nominee Program. And I get a lot of questions about them, primarily because they give a lot of points, right? So the most common difficulty with express entry is you do your language exam, you get your ECA, but then you realize you don't have quite enough points to get an invitation. These days, you're going to need in the high 460s, ideally in the 470s, if you want an invite to apply based on the recent draws. And so a lot of people look to PNPs to solve that problem. Now, what a PNP is it's basically giving provinces around Canada the option to sponsor you as an individual because they think you are a high-profile candidate to fit in their economy, in their province. And so I'm going to focus specifically on PNPs through express entry because express entry is our focus here at Visto. But basically the way it works is if you think about express entry, you do your language exam, you get your ECA if you need one, and then you create your express entry profile and you submit it to the express entry pool. And your profile just kind of floats in that pool unless you have a high enough score and you get invited to apply. Now, if you don't have a high enough score, your profile just sits there. And what the PNPs do is they kind of work in 2 ways. Number one, so each province has what are called multiple streams. So, for example, Ontario has a human capital priority stream. It has a tech draw. There's, I believe, one for master's students that kind of opens and closes here and there. But each province has multiple streams, so multiple PNPs basically. Now there's 2 primary ways that PNPs work. Number one is provinces can send you an invite while your profile is in the pool, or number 2, you can apply directly for it, right? So depending on the province and the stream is going to determine whether you can actually just go and apply to the PNP right away, or you actually have to be invited to apply. So that's why what we do here at Visto is we go more in depth on certain PNPs because there's so many of them and it's confusing. Do I wait for them to invite me? Do I have to apply first? What are the requirements? Because each one has different requirements. So you'll find blog posts and videos, especially if you're in the private Facebook group. You can go into the videos tab and see that I've gone in depth on a few PNP programs so you know exactly what the process is. So for example, Saskatchewan, I believe, is the first one that I did, where you have to go in and submit an application. But the Ontario Tech Draw, which I also did a video on, you have to be nominated. So you have to have an express entry profile and you have to be nominated. So again, it depends on the province, and each province has different streams based on their needs, right? So you'll see here kind of the priorities are students, business people, skilled workers, or semi-skilled workers. So you'll see certain streams for skilled workers, recent grads, entrepreneurial streams, kind of a whole different whack, and it really depends on the province. So if you're in Canada studying or working, you usually have a much simpler path to PNP because a lot of them are looking for connections to their province. So if you went to school in BC, it'll probably be easier to go through some BC stream. If you are a temporary worker in Ontario, it might be easier to go through an Ontario stream, something like that. If you're outside of the country, you're going to have to do a little bit more homework and find out the ones that you might be interested and eligible for. So if you go to our blog post here, I'm going to put the link in the Facebook chat so you have access to it. Prashant, I am going to, I'll get to your question at the end here. I'm just going to post the link. Okay, so the link there, and what you can do in this, and we'll provide the link in the description of the video as well, is you can search by province. So we have links to each province. You can go in, check what the different PNP streams are, what the requirements are, things like that. And yeah, for express entry, if the stream is related to express entry, there's kind of two ways. Either you'll be invited or you submit an application. So it's actually pretty straightforward. Understanding what PNPs are in general is fairly straightforward. The difficult part is figuring out which ones you might have a better chance at and which ones you meet the requirements for. So with that being said, that's going to end the intro video. If you are more interested in specific PNPs, definitely look at more of our videos because I go in depth on certain ones. I'm going to be putting out more and more where each week I'll go in depth on one PNP program. So I believe Saskatchewan and Ontario, Tech Draw we already have done. Some more will be coming out in the new year as well. So that's it, excuse me, for the video. If you're watching after the fact, make sure you've signed up, www.visto.ai, and by joining you'll get a ton of free resources all about express entry and moving to Canada and finding jobs. You'll also get to attend these videos live. So when I do end this video, I will be doing a live Q&A with all of our attendees, and it's all totally free to join. So hopefully you'll join soon. Hopefully you enjoyed this intro video, and I will see you in the next one.